All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. I think I'm live, but I'm going to go in the group quickly on my phone and just make sure that before I start talking, I'm not just talking to myself and that I can see everybody. All right. There we go. I think I'm live. All right. First of all, thank you very much for having me in the group and for inviting me to share my expertise with the members. I really appreciate it. I do want to introduce myself to everybody. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Maggie Perotin, and I'm a business coach for women entrepreneurs. I work with service-based women entrepreneurs, mostly with businesses online who market their business online. And as a business coach, I always want to deliver value. And what I help my clients with is really getting to the point where they can predictably gain the income they want in their business. So that means attracting paying clients consistently. And I want my clients to get results as fast as possible. So then, the investment they made in my coaching, they can make it up very quickly and then just kind of just make pure money from there. And I always think like, well, what do they need? What help do they need? What kind of challenges they have that I can remove from them? So then, where they are now to the goal that they can get to, they can get the fastest possible. And, from my experience in working with women entrepreneurs, I realized there's three main things that as leaders of our business, we all need to grow the business as fast as possible with as little overwhelm and as little stress. Because of course, we all love what we do and we really, enjoy our businesses. But it's like having kids, not everything is hunky-dory. There are stressful times. It can get chaotic. So how to minimize that? So that led me to sort of developing my model, Dream Plan Do, which is first pillar of that model is mindset and self-leadership. And I know that in this group, we have really, high vibe leaders, entrepreneurs. So I'm sure you're understanding that portion. Then there's, of course, business portion. So understanding your marketing and who you are and how you stand out from the crowd and kind of crafting the marketing plan that helps you attract your ideal clients and then convert them, ideal audience, and then convert them into paying clients. And that's all great. But what I also realized that even if you have the great mindset and even if you know what to do and how to do it, if you don't maximize the time you work in your business, then the results will still can be sluggish or at least, non-consistent. And that's where the high performance pillar comes. And that's what we'll focus on a little bit today. Because, as women, especially again, I work with women. So as women, we have a lot going on in our lives. We have families. Sometimes, we have a second job or 9 to 5 that we want to leave or school and so on. So a lot of us don't necessarily have a whole day to focus on our business. And the thing is that we don't have to have a full day. As long as you're maximizing the time you have for your business, you can accomplish much, much more than somebody who doesn't do that, doesn't focus, doesn't prioritize, and so on. So that's a little bit of introduction. And, high performance and kind of maximization is dear to my heart because just like everybody else, I have a story behind me. And the story is that, 3 years ago, more or less, I was in my leadership corporate job and it was great, but it was very demanding and I almost burned out. And I got to the point where, I was stressed. I wasn't sleeping well. I was working nonstop, not getting anywhere. My family was suffering. And at some point I said, no more, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing that. And I really invested in myself in developing the high performance habits and mindset that helped me tremendously, not only to start my business, have more time for myself, for my family, but also, enroll in some school that I wanted to do and do a lot of things that are important to me without overwhelm, and still being able, like, I'm at the point where if really something is important, I can create time. I never complain per se that I don't have time. I know I can just create it. So I hope you can do that too. So let's get to it. And I wanted to talk about three main things as far as, increasing the focus in your business and reducing your stress. So the first thing is the mindset. So having the right mindset around time and high performance. Because for me, high performance and having systems and routines in your life is really about seeing it as a lifestyle. I think it's James Clear who said that, we don't race to our goals, we actually fall to our habits. And that's very true. We can have all the goals in the world, and, maybe even for a short amount of time, we can, speed up the pace and try to pursue them. But in long term, we will fall back to whatever system we have. So in our business, we need systems, we need routines that will help us or carry us and make it easy for us to implement the plans so we can achieve the goals we have. So what I want you to think about, excuse me, in terms of the mindset is anything you do in your business, any time you spend, or even, when I tell my clients that you need to switch your thinking as a CEO of your business from spending, so spending money, spending time, spending whatever, to investing in your business. The same way you invest in your business, whether it's in coaching, whether it's through technology, whether it's through whatever else you're doing, projects that you're developing in your business, you also need to think about time as investing the time. And to invest the time, you need to really be super clear on what is important really for you to do and what type of activities are the, income generating activities, the ones that really move your business forward, and not only right now, but also long term. And what are the activities that are maybe not as important, or maybe they're just busy and so on. Okay, so prioritization is the first step. We're understanding, not even like doing the prioritization, but understanding how you're spending time or investing the time in your business, and what type of activities are the 20% that are bringing you 80% of income or 80% of results, and focusing on that. So one little tool I would like to share with you that is really helpful is the Eisenhower matrix. So it's attributed to the President Eisenhower to come up with it. But there's two types of, activities that either happen or we do. I have from talking a lot, my phone gets dry. So there's important activities, and some of them are urgent, some of them are non-urgent, and then there's non-important activities. And it's the same. Some of them are urgent, some of them are not. And what happens is the important non-urgent activities are the ones that really move the needle in your business. This is like creating strategy and planning and thinking about the next steps in your business and so on. Unfortunately, very often, and even in our personal lives, we tend to put them on the side, and we tend to think, oh, okay, well, when I have time, I'll do this. Right now, I'm so busy, I don't have time. And the thing is that time never happens. Like, we never find the time. And the trick is to create time for those activities. And the more time we create, the more we focus on them, the less of urgent things will happen in our business, and the less we have to react. So when we become proactive, when we plan, when we think, when we're creative in our business, and we create that time, when we take time for ourselves to rest, to think even, how can we, help our clients more? How can we be more valuable? Whatever the case might be, the less of the urgent stuff we do. And that's what I help my clients with a lot, when not only we create plans and strategies and so on, but we also figure out how we're going to implement it, not only what steps we're going to do them, but when we're going to do them, as far as the time is concerned. So then the important and urgent things, those are, unexpected stuff that maybe your best clients has something going on and they need your help. And they're going to reach out to you and say, hey, like, I really need your help and it wasn't planned and I need it for tomorrow and so on. In our private lives, those might be medical emergencies or, family member getting sick or things like that happen. They don't happen every day, but they do, and we just need to do them. But then what the Eisenhower said is with non-important things, what we need to, try to be doing as soon as possible in our business is that if they're urgent, they might not be important now, but let's say if we delay them too much, they will become important. But if they're urgent, we should be delegating. We should be, something that's not our key thing in our business. So let's say, I'm not an accountant, right? In my business, the moment you have ability and you plan your budget, right? You should be delegating these things. It takes time, it's time consuming. And then if you don't do it to a certain extent, it will become urgent. You need to be delegating those. And as far as the delegation could be involving your family members or your kids or doing collaborations in your business if you don't have resources yet. But as soon as you have resources, creating a budget and planning ahead of time, so then your time can be focused here. And then through the habits and through slow, improvement of how you invest your time, eliminating completely the stuff that is not important and non-urgent. And with that, I'm not a huge fan or to-do list. I used to have a to-do list and it was always growing, and I never, I would check off a couple of things and then they would grow up, and it was actually stressful for me. And even I couldn't focus because it was hard to decide when am I going to do it. It was stressful because I didn't see it was like a never-ending story. And what I realized is that a lot of things on that to-do list, sometimes we stay there forever and the world didn't end, right? So those things we should be really eliminating. Again, one of the things I do help my clients with, and I have a whole system about it, is to how to plan your weeks, how to plan your activities. So you really focus on just the important things and just scrap the non-important or delegate it and so on. And, when you create a plan, the focus in your business comes from, and that's the second thing I wanted to talk about. So once we have the proper mindset about the time and prioritization and investment, then it comes to, planning and focusing on it. And the whole thing about planning is that we should create plans simple enough that we can implement. Okay, creating plans in your business, the strategy in your business, your branding, or whatever you're doing, it's not about putting a plan together and then shoving it in your drawer and never looking at it and then doing something else, hoping that you'll achieve the goal that you created a plan for, right? That's not going to happen. When we have a goal, we need to break it down into actionable steps, from year to quarters to months to weeks and days that will align, that we can implement. And it has to be simple enough so we can implement it when life happens. And, the story is, and I'm very passionate about simplicity because it's very hard to do complex and chaotic when we have lives. And what I see very often, people create plans for a perfect day that hardly ever happens. And then they wonder oh, it's hard for me to implement this plan because this happened and that happened and this happened. Our plans should be created for a regular, normal day with, I'm a mom and I have younger kids, with, a child coming back from school and having a bad day, or you getting, sick one day or just not feeling well, or whatever the case might be. The plans that we have need to account for that, and they need to be simple enough. And I saw in another group, not in this one, but in another group, conversation of somebody who was telling the poor entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, that they need to create a business plan that's like 46 to 50 pages long. And for me, that was a little bit too much, because who will ever, I personally could never remember a business plan that's 46 pages long, and not to mention actually putting it into action and actioning it every day. You know, again, with my clients, we always work, how can we simplify it? How can we do, you know, drill down to really the core activities that you need to do every day, weekly, every month, that will allow you to attract paying clients consistently. And I want to, you know, I want to encourage you to do that. If you do feel overwhelmed, or if you do feel like, okay, whatever I'm doing is not giving me the results I want, look at your plans. If you have any, if you don't, then I encourage you to make some and not like throw spaghetti at the wall. But if you do have plans, think about it from that aspect. Like, is it maybe too complex? It's just too complex for me to execute every day. And if that's the case, just try to, you know, just like peel an onion, get to the core and just do the core. Start from the most important things. And what you will also realize is that when you actually have a plan, and when it's simple, and when you know what you're going to do every day with the little time or a lot of time that you have for your business, your stress levels will drop dramatically. It's very stressful, or can be stressful, and we might not even feel about it, when you just have a to-do list. You're, you know, it's Monday morning and you're like, yep, okay, I have 2 hours, I'm gonna work on my business. So you sit in front of your computer and then you decide like, oh, what am I gonna do? Okay, well, let me look at my big list. And then you spend 10 minutes trying to decide. You finally decide on something, and let's just say you're like, oh, I'm gonna network in Facebook groups. And then you go in, or I'm just gonna, you know, create something on social media. And then you go in and you try to look for inspiration, and then you go on that rabbit hole from, you know, one post to another, one video to another, and then reading others people post. And then, you know, like that, an hour is gone, or an hour and a half. And then you realize, well, I got busy, but I didn't do anything. Or even the worst case scenario is, I see, you know, sometimes even my clients, and I coach them through it, they get to the point where they start comparing themselves to others and see all those fabulous, you know, successes that other people have. And they get into that negative self, you know, beating up mindset, saying, well, I'm not that good, I will never do that. And then they don't do anything, right? They procrastinate and they self-sabotage. So instead, when you know exactly what you're gonna do, so let's just say, you know, you have those 2 hours, and you know, okay, well, I'm gonna create content, and this is going to be a video, and this is the topic, and I'm already ready. All I need to do is record it. Then you're maximizing those 2 hours. You do the video, boom, and you have something that was actually an income generating activity. So focus is very important. And then one thing about the focus, another advice that I want to tell you is that always focus on things that you can control, not the things you cannot control. And, you know, with COVID and the situation we're in, it's very easy to start focusing on things we cannot control, like, you know, what are the restrictions and the lockdown, and when it's going to be out, and when am I going to be doing this, and so on. And when we do that, what happens is we reduce our circle of influence. So this is circle of influence, this is circle of concern. When we're focusing on things that concern us, it diminishes our circle of influence, it increases our stress, and we give our power to generate, to create results away to external circumstances. And then we start feeling powerless and we lose hope. As opposed to when we start focusing on what we can control. So like, okay, well, I can't control what the government will do with the restrictions and when they're going to lift and so on. So what can I do in my business now to keep growing it or to prepare it for 6 months the road or down the road or whatever? When we do that, we expand our circle of influence and we don't focus on circle of concern. Our stress levels go down. We actually feel better because we start seeing the results and because we are in control, we're in power, and we create the results. We take action. And when we take action, our confidence grows. We have clarity of what works, what doesn't, where we're going. And then we create that certainty of income, of clients, and of our future. So the third part, so we have the mindset around time, and then planning to what to do, and then doing is creating those habits every day and routines that would make it easy for you to execute your plan, to do your plan. And it can be anything. Everybody works differently. It might be, making sure that you get to bed on proper amount of time and you get sleep so you're not tired from day to day, and you can kind of operate at the highest vibe level when we're tired. And all of you who are moms or who, are moms but had babies, what sleep deprivation can do. You're irritable, you're tired, you can't really function well. And that is also true even if you're not as much sleep deprived as when we have babies, but even a little bit, when you're tired throughout your day, when you don't have that, ample energy, it's very hard to be very productive. And so, there's many different routines and little things that you can implement that, I don't have time to even cover here. But whatever you're doing, think about what's working for you and maybe what I can do a little bit more of to increase that or to increase my productivity, and what is not working and what I need to change, and how can I change it slowly, okay? So for example, with my clients, sometimes when they come to me, we very often start with high productivity. We don't even dig into their business model or their strategy and so on. It depends. But very often we start with productivity and their high performance. And I have this journal that I get from my clients, which is very good. They love it. All my clients love it. And I teach them a simple system of planning and kind of day to day, making sure that their mindset in the right spot and so on. And just focusing on that and kind of getting their schedule more predictable and kind of more sustainable long term, they see amazing results. I get a client, or they're still with me, but when they started working with me, we implemented really simple steps, and she doubled her income in a month. And then the next month, she doubled the already doubled income. And then she started to go I can hire people and I can do this and so on. And then, another client of mine, it was the same, we started implementing that. And then in just this January, in the first 3 weeks, she made 40% of her income of the entire 2020, just by that. So, and then, when you layer onto that the strategy, the marketing, and you improve there and your mindset, then yes, you can skyrocket your results 100%. Okay. So that's, and I want to debunk one more sort of maybe reservation around creating certain systems and routines, because I often hear that, well, if I create routines and so on, I'm going to lose my spontaneity and I'll feel like, I'm caged and so on. And it's actually the opposite. It's true. And creating routines and planning, it's not about planning every single minute or second of your day. It's not like that. But what it allows you to do, it's not only reduces stress, but it creates room in your brain to actually be creative and think about your business in a long term, strategically, and how to expand. Because when we, our brains as human beings, we're wired to function every day with the least amount of energy, right? That our body and our brain, they want us to survive, and they want to conserve the energy. That's why, applying or even getting a new habit or introducing a new habit is difficult, because in the beginning it takes a lot of energy for the brain and for the body to kind of get used to it. But once you do, it goes into our subconscious brain, and we do certain things on autopilot. And that's your goal when you're creating routines and habits, because once something becomes a routine or a habit and you're on autopilot, the room in your brain frees. You free the room in your brain and the energy in your day to do something else. Imagine like if you had to think about breathing all the time, or about like brushing teeth, or how to brush into one, like all those things that we do. I think it's like 95% of our days we do subconsciously, or even walking. If you had to focus on walking all the time, you wouldn't be able to do anything. You wouldn't be able, and even breathing, like you wouldn't be able to do anything else in your life. So the more good habits we can implement and put them on an autopilot, the habits that serve us throughout the day, the more space we create to be innovative in our business, to be creative in our business, on how we can create better and better solutions for our clients, how we can retain them, the new ways of attracting them, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this training. Again, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. For those of you who want to chat with me more and would like to know how I can help you grow your business without overwhelm, you can just either comment here in the training, tag me in, or PM me. And also, my website is my business. Name of my business is Stairway to Leadership. My website is www.stairwaytoleadership.com. You can find me there. Again, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.